there for about 5 years, and then I just completed a house that I present house. It's up on a little ranch, a little 7-acre ranch in a place called New Harmony, right across the street from Zion National Park.
How is that? How has the move been? I guess hopefully it's been easy.
Well, I think for most people it would be a nerve-wracking experience, like people tell me that moving always is,
Yeah.
except for the fact that if you're a Huckabee, you happen to be very organized. Let's put it this way. And so every box is labeled and every shirt is tagged. And so it's getting there, and I take my time packing and things like this. Nothing's ever done in a rush. So it was quite pleasant. It may have been nerve wracking for my wife. She hasn't talked to me since, but you know, no, as moves go, it was relatively simple.
That's good. Is this related to the crushed phone? Can you tell us more about the crushed phone incident?
Well, the crushed phone. Okay, now you're bringing up my inadequacies here.
Okay, sorry about that.
The crushed phone. I, I'm out making let's just say I'm not on a main thoroughfare. You have to get to my place by going some old highway routes, and I have I just put in a long driveway. When I say put it in, I have a tractor, so I taking out, all the tumbleweeds and brambles and rocks and boulders and things of this nature. And I have a driveway that's about 1,000 feet, give or take. And then I was making another circular driveway to connect to it around the house, so I can, pull in, go all the way around the house if I want to, and in case I have large parties, not, but case I do, then I have implements on my tractor. I have a powertrain. I'm sure you've seen these operations where they have something on the back, a shovel, and a front big shovel, that thing. And I laid my phone down just for a second. Forgot it was there when I torqued that, what they call a PTO, at about 1,500 RPMs, and all I could hear was the phone screaming. And I looked around, and there were glass bits and everything flying all around. I mean, there wasn't even enough
Holy
to.
moly.
But okay, I don't want to get political here, but the talk program that I was listening to was still playing.
That's pretty good. What kind of was it, an Apple or an Android?
Apple.
Apple.
No, it was an Android.
Okay.
Okay.
That's probably why it survived then, or is still kicking.
Yeah. No, I use the, I've had Apples, but I like the Android because I like the way it works with Windows. What I put on my PC or my rig ends up on my phone. I like that idea.
So I guess that it arrived. Safe to say it arrived. That was your concern
today.
Yeah.
And it's still downloading as we speak.
Okay.
First thing I downloaded was Discord. The second thing was Gmail. And then, of course, I had a bunch of other things, my contacts. I had 509 contacts, and for the life of me, I do not know how I have that many contacts, because I didn't even know I knew that many people. I have them. So it's still downloading. I haven't even activated the phone yet. Waiting for it to activate or do its thing over the internet.
But you got Discord. You're covered. You're good. So how's your 2020 been so far? Have you had a good 2020? It's been a good year for you so far?
I always have good years.
Every year's a good year.
Every year's a good year, even the ones where I have unpleasant circumstances during the year. But I'm not. I don't know. I stopped having bad times or bad things back when I was a very, very young man. I mean, like in my 20s, because it was renting too much space in my head, and I got tired of it, and I just, you know what? Nah, no more. So I kind of, a lot of people say, well, that's kind of a devil may care attitude. Yeah, but it's worked for me. I don't sweat the small stuff,
Hey,
and
that's a Chris Hadfieldism right there. I heard that.
I really,
I heard that.
yeah. But I just don't do it. I waste too much time. There were times that were very bleak in my life, and you know, uh, kind of like I was a member of AA for many many years, but and that's kind of a one day at a time type thing. So that kind of helped in that attitude. But now it's just become second nature. So I just roll with the punches, and I don't worry about the things that I have absolutely no control over.
Yeah, that's a good attitude. I think that we could all learn a little bit of that. Um, so, like, I just want to ask a little bit more about Utah because I've never been to Utah before, and because I'm Canadian, if you're unaware of that,
No,
from
I knew that. I knew that.
Ontario.
I could tell.
Yeah. Oh, yikes.
I have a
Anyways,
terrific ear.
I hear that there's kind of like an alien culture, or there's people who go out to the deserts in Utah and meditate to aliens. Have you heard of this before?
uh no, that was I have heard about it in um Nevada, uh and in places like 29 Palms.
Yeah,
But
isn't Oh wait, where's 29 Palms?
it's in California. California Desert. There's a Marine
Okay.
base out there. But uh, cavorting with aliens in Utah? I don't think so.
Hmm.
I haven't heard
Believe
about
that
it.
story.
Yeah, yeah. I haven't heard about it. And where I live, there's if they're going to show up, they show up right in my backyard. So
Yeah, I always see photos of Utah and they look beautiful. I guess that's kind of where it comes from. You just clear skies, I guess.
the beauty of Utah is something that we Utards usually like to keep. We, you know, let me start out by saying I am not a politically correct person. So if I offend anybody, I'm sorry, but uh, I what is it? I say what I means, and I means what I says. But anyway, it most people in Utah have found out that the more they describe how beautiful Utah is, the more people come here. So need I say more?
Nope.
No,
That makes
no,
sense.
because it is beautiful. I mean, there isn't. I live, like I say, across the street from Zion National Park. Well, I live on the back side, the back entrance of it. There's a front entrance that's down the St. George Way, which is about 35 minutes away. And then there's the other entrance, what they call Colop Canyons, which I live right across the street from. And you can go up there. It's about a 5-6 mile drive, and you're with nature. I mean, this is it. It's the most beautiful, quiet wildlife, deer, squirrels, you know, badgers, uh, just about anything if you like nature, Utah's the place to do it. And then of course, there's Monument Valley, and I'm going to mention a name that probably none of you remember, but John Wayne did most of his movies out there in Monument Valley, uh, most of his westerns anyway. And that's another beautiful area. If you're an ATV freak, uh, I own an ATV, but only because I used to play Halo, and it's the closest thing, to one of those warthogs there is. So I have one. I've had one for many years, since at least 2010. And you can literally get on an ATV, uh, preferably a 4-seater or at least a 2-seater. I wouldn't do it on a quad, but I can literally get on a trail and make it to Colorado state line without touching asphalt.
Wow.
You know, I can make it to Nevada. I can make it to Las Vegas. Actually, I can make it to California if I really want to take, and get my GPS out and follow the somebody has been on a dirt road out there sometime, and unless by some magic, well, your aliens have erased the dirt road, it's there. So if you like ATVing, this is the place to do it. They're very ATV friendly here in Utah.
Have you ever been up this
Uh,
way before? British Columbia?
you know, the last time I was in Canada, and I'm not even sure, you'll have to forgive me because I'm a history major and not a geography major. But the last time I was in Canada, I was in Vancouver.
Yep.
I've been in on the New York side, just across the canal, or the
Toronto, Ottawa?
Toronto,
Toronto.
St. Lawrence Seaway.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, that was a story all to itself.
Yeah.
I was a California boy and I was on a little boat all by myself in the St. Lawrence Seaway. Had no idea what I was doing.
Oh, that must have been Montreal, maybe? St. Lawrence Seaway. That's really Ottawa, to be honest with you.
Yeah. You're right. It is Montreal because that's
Montreal.
where I ended up visiting, and I really found Montreal to be a wonderful place. Uh, I found it a lot different than New York. I
Yeah.
used to be I used to be a recruiter in New York City, and it was the only place I was a recruiter that I had to be armed. No, just kidding. No, no. But New York City and Montreal, they may be metropolitan areas, but they're totally and completely. And I like Montreal a lot better. Although the New Yorkers were funny. I can remember walking on 43rd Street, and I just got back from a tour in Vietnam, I guess, and I was still in my uniform, and I wanted to see the Statue of Liberty, and excuse me, sir, and the guy turned around. I said, yeah, and I said, are you from New York City? He said, yes, I am. And I said, I want to visit the Statue of Liberty. Could you tell me where it is? And he goes, wait a minute, don't tell me. I think if you go down, I suppose I should ask him how long he had been living in New York City, but he didn't know where the Statue of Liberty was. So I just figured, well, that was my one and only contact with someone in New York City. So I decided to just drop it from then on.
So you never seen it. You didn't get to see it.
Well, I got to see it. I finally got on a boat and passed by it, one of these little ferry things, or what do you call it, sightseeing boats. And the guy says, and right over there, and there it is. But as far as getting on the island, no, I never
No.
did. I never did go. Although I've got my grandfather's name is inscribed there because he and his 12 children came through in the early 1900s. My great grandfather, rather.
Wow.
Yeah, I always wanted to see my mother and father bought a brick or whatever when they were redoing it.
Really?
Get your name or whatever on there that you could prove your ancestors came through Ellis Island. But that's another trip.
That's another trip.
That's another trip.
I would want to add one thing though, just regarding New York. As far as Canadian cities go, I think it would be fair to compare it with Toronto, not
Really?
Montreal. Montreal is like, it's Quebec, so it's French, so it's really more like France. But
I knew there was something wrong. My high school French didn't work to me. You keep American,
Yeah, those guys are pretty French. And if you go up the highway even more to Quebec City, that's like actually France. So yeah. No, if you go to Toronto, most people compare that to New York City. And I'm curious to hear what you have to say about Toronto now. You missed that one. But there's really no point in going there. It's mostly banks anyways. Yeah, seriously.
Yeah. Although I have been to France.
You have been to France. Yeah, it's a good comparison. What was France like?
Well, you're going to laugh at this.
Okay.
I was in the army. We were sent over there to pull the American troops out of France back in the 60s. And I never did get to go over there or station because they, I don't know what political thing happened or whatever, but we pulled out. But I was with the 84th Transportation Company. I was a holdover unit waiting to go overseas. And so they put me in this unit because they thought, I was a 11 Bush beat 'em up when I got out of what they called advanced infantry training. And so they made me a truck driver, and which made sense to me. And but so I went back over there. I ended up in Genk, Belgium. I was stationed there in Shape headquarters, and I went to visit Paris, and I wanted to go over there because those French Foreign Legion caps, the little the round things with the
Yes.
bill on it.
Yes.
I wanted one of those so bad. You know,
Very fashionable.
yeah. I tried to get in the French Foreign Legion.
Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, that's another story. When I was a kid, 17 years old, I tried to get into the French Foreign Legion. I went to the French consulate in San Francisco, and I walked in there. And these guys were cool. They didn't laugh at me. They didn't, hi, sir, I want to join the French Foreign Legion. And they said, come on in, perfect English, sat me in a little chair with a little, and he put on this, well, it wasn't a laptop because they didn't have laptops then, but it was a little film. And it was showing the training of the French Foreign Legion. Here, these guys, they look like Green Berets,
Hmm.
you know, I'm in military uniforms with berets on. And I'm going, well, wait a minute. Where's the horses and where's the cloth and back of the hat and all that? And they just kind of said, well, you don't do that anymore, son. You
Shame.
know, do you still want to join? I go, well, not if it's going to be. I go, so how long do I have to sign up for? He says, well, 5 years to begin with. And I went, 5 years? You got to be goodbye. And so I left. That was the last I ever tried to enlisted the Foreign Legion, and I went right back down into California and enlisted in the Army
But
instead.
this was all for a hat, if I'm not mistaken, right?
It was for a hat. Yes, yes, it was for a hat.
So 5 years of your life for a hat. I mean, I could see it. I have a pilot's hat that I really enjoyed. I'd probably spend 5 years of my life
Yeah,
for that. So
yeah. But I did finally get one,
oh, that's
and
good.
uh, I'm not sure what son has it, but I've had various and sundry hats. Sheriff's hats, and
Man of many hats.
yeah. Well, when I've worn them at different times in my life, and I think my grandson has the last law enforcement hat I ever wore. It was kind of like a porta potty, you know. But it's out there somewhere. But I got it for 2 cartons of cigarettes, because back then you could get cigarettes for like 17 cents a pack back then. So a little trading, made life interesting.
I should as
What
well.
else you want to know?
I should as well set some context here. Like as a Canadian, we're not a very military centric group of people, so I don't actually know anything about the military at all.
You're talking to the wrong person then.
Yeah, yeah.
Because
But
that's all I am.
well, that's why I find you very fascinating, and I'd really like to hear, if you could explain what the military is all about and what you experienced to somebody who doesn't know anything about that or anything about war or anything. And I'm a non-combatant in Star Citizen as well. I just do trade, so I'm completely tree hugger, hippie, something like that.
That's okay. I I learned a long time ago that we all have our place in this world. And the absolute perfect scenario would be for everyone to love each other and everyone to be courteous and act like we all should. But unfortunately, that's not what happens. And so I always when I was a little kid, I knew what I was going to do. Well, that's not true either. I wanted to be an attorney when I was a little kid. That shows you how screwed up I was as a 5-year-old. But and then I got into watching movies, and I decided, no, I don't want to. I don't want to be an attorney anymore. I want to be a movie producer and produce great movies. And that didn't work out either. But as I got into high school, I decided that when I was in high school, it was a very troubling time. Uh, like I said, I hate to get political. In fact, I won't get political on Discord or anything like that. I want you to know that right now.
Yeah.
So this is very different for me because I'm going to let out a little bit about my politics, but I will not engage in politics on Discord because I feel every person that's on Discord has a perfectly good right to their own opinion. They have a right to voice it. If I don't voice my opinion, that's on me. Okay. Um, but I don't stop anybody from voicing their opinion. I don't believe in it. But anyway, to get back to the original story, by the time I was in high school, things were really hot in the United States. But the Vietnam War, 65, 66 was it seemed to be the center of attention, not only in the United States, but everywhere in the world. And uh, I wanted to I had a free ride to Stanford University. I was also an alternate at the Coast Guard Academy. And, but I went to UCLA, take some, I don't know whether I was taking some tests, whether it's an LSAT test or whatever, because I was looking for ways to skip out from having to attend all these years at university to go to get a law school because why? I'm a Huckabee. I don't need that kind of education. I already know it. But anyway, I went to UCLA and there was about, excuse me if I sound like I'm exaggerating, but it appeared to be like 40,000 students, people with signs everywhere protesting the war, protesting the government, protesting, if there was something to be protesting, there was it was being done there.
Yeah.
Okay. And I thought to myself when I was driving home in my 1949 Chevy Woody.
Nice.
But I'm driving home and I'm thinking to myself, I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to sit there. I'm not going to go to school and have all this crap. I don't understand it. And my dad was a World War II veteran. He was a Korean War veteran. He was in the Navy. And it wasn't so much drilled into me. It was just something that going into the service was just something I felt I needed to do. It was just felt natural. And so I went to the Navy recruiter. I drove right from UCLA to the Navy recruiter in San Bernardino, and they were out to lunch. Okay. And I heard this, "What you doing?" And I turned around, and there was an Army recruiter with his feet up on the desk, just sitting there. And he goes, "When do you want to go?" I said, "When can I go?" He says, "You walk in here, you sign those papers, and I will have you on that bus in about an hour."
Wow. And your life changes forever.
So I called my mom from the recruiting office and said, "I need you to do me a favor. Mom, I need you to get me some clothes ready, some underwear, toothbrush, whatever. You might want to call Dad because I don't think I'm going to have enough time to say bye." I did. I had just enough time. They gave me about 30, 35 minutes. My dad came, picked me up. We had a quick burger or whatever. They're at McDonald's in San Bernardino, but dropped me off. They took me into LA, got my ASVAB test, got my physical and everything. And the next thing I knew, I had the Marines, I had the Navy, I had the Air. I had everybody. You want to come with us? Uh, I had kind of maxed something like, I don't know if you're familiar. I don't even know if they still have it. They call it with an OCT test. I got a 160 on it, and everybody in the world wanted me because I appeared. What I later found it was be natural for the military, I guess. But anyway, I ended up in Fort Ord, California, which is closed now, by the way, at 4:00 in the morning, being yelled at, receiving all kinds of loving affections from Drill Sergeant Buford Radford and from Alabama. And I went in, and about 5 years later, I was going to make a career out of it. And then 1975, 76 came along, and I was painting grass green. I was a sergeant at the time. I was a staff sergeant at the time. But only people that have been in the military are going to understand what I'm going to say. Peacetime military, they try to find things for you to do, at least back then. I don't know what it is now. It's been a long time, brothers and sisters, since I've been in. I got out in 1979. And but I thought I was going to make a career of it. I'd gone to OCS, which is Officers Candidate School, and I was the only non-college graduate at the time in the class, which I paid for it later, and I'll explain that in a second. Because I got later on, because I did not have a college degree, I got what is called RIFTed. It's a reduction in force. And they warned me. Hey, look, you got to get your college degree. You got to go to college. And it was free.
Nice.
It was convenient. It was on every post I ever went. But did I go? No. No, I did not go. Why? Because I thought the Vietnam War was going to last forever. Okay. And I paid for it. When it came time, well, you should have got your, you're going to get $15,000 if you stay in, or $30,000 if you decide to, get out. And I took the 15,000 and a staff sergeant back to a staff sergeant, because I'd started as a staff sergeant at OCS. But those are mistakes that I probably, I didn't think there was something I needed to take care of, because at that age, I'm invincible. But anyway, the Army was interesting. I spent my time, like I said, when I figured out that being in the infantry was not the most healthiest thing in the world.
Yeah.
Let's say I finagled my way. By the time I was staff sergeant first class, let's say, later on, I could finagle my way into different MOSs. I went from everything I worked for JAG. You've seen working for the legal department of the military, and that was fun for a little while. Like I said, I was truck driver for a while, infantry, mortars, armor. That's fun. However, I didn't know we were going to have a party in the 90s. So tanks and jungle weren't exactly the best combination. Those of you that were tankers in Vietnam, you know what I'm talking about. And I got into air defense. That was probably the funnest, because Here's how sick this was. You spend, we had shifts 300 feet underneath the ground. Okay. At the time I was assigned to what they called Nike Hercules and Nike Hawk missiles. It was air defense, uh, a missile system all up and down the state of California. They had missile bases in Frisco and Santa Barbara and all these places. And I was at what they call battalion operations there in San Pedro, right on the beach outside of Los Angeles. It was like being a Star Citizen, I really was, because you go down on the ground, you have these blue lights for, because you're in darkness all the time, and they want to keep your eyes accustomed, and you hear all this machinery running, to keep it cool. And I played, very proud of this. I played one of the first video games ever created, and that was with the Army Air Defense Command, because we had, how would I explain it? We had track balls,
Yep.
except they were built into the table, and we had these big scopes about 400 miles across. Okay, and we'd sit there and we'd move our cursors around and find an aircraft and click on it, and it would follow the aircraft, and it had a name on it, Air Force 27,000. For those of the Air Force, you know who I'm talking about. But anyway, that was a private joke, and I really shouldn't do that to you. Air Force 27,000 back then was Air Force One. Okay, but anyway,
I see.
yeah, but that's not classified anymore. But anyway, or if it still is, we're way behind. But anyway, it and we played Army, played games with the Air Force. We'd sit there on our scopes, and we would try to shoot Air Force planes down. Now, is that fun or not?
That's it. Okay. Honestly, it sounds like you're describing Missile Command. Did you ever play Missile Command on Atari? It sounds like the same thing.
No. Well, yes, I did too. Yes, that is true. On Atari, yeah, that was before. That was a long time ago.
That was also a long time ago.
Yeah, but but the Air Force would have what they call OREs, Operational Readiness Exercises. It would take 6 or 7 B-52s, and they would fly it off the coast of Los Angeles, and they would try to sneak in to Los Angeles and drop their radio-controlled bombs. I mean, they weren't actually bombs, but they were playing like they were. And we would try to shoot them down. And you talk about fun. Of course, I loved it, right? And so then I loved it so much there that they sent me to Germany. And that got a little bit hotter, because then I got involved in the Czechoslovakian invasion. If my timing seems a little off here, it's because when I recollect, it's been a long time. But I think the Czechoslovakian invasion was somewhere around 68, 69, something like that. And I thought we were going to war. I was writing my mother, dear mother, please give everything I have to my best friend John, because I don't think I'm coming back, because it's getting too hot over here. Then I went to Korea, did the same thing, except then I transferred to the DMZ in Korea, and that was kind of cool, because they wanted people on the DMZ that were over 6 feet tall, so we could intimidate the other side.
Of course.
I thought,
yeah.
That's crazy. But we'd sit there and look at me, and nobody ever waved at me.
That's rude. Tried. That's rude.
Yeah, it really is. But I found out it's just as well, because if you'd have done something really stupid, it became a report, and those reports were read by everybody. And I wouldn't be surprised if they weren't read by the president of the United States. I don't know. They treated it like it was, you just hit a hammer on an A-bomb, which also was an incident, by the way. But anyway, then I went back to Germany, did the same thing there. Funny story about Germany. At Wasikupi, the 14th Cav, we were sitting there monitoring, and the tank, they had armor on the frontier, which there's a kilometer between the East Germans, Russians, and you know, like I said, I'm not going to be politically correct in here. This is what was going on back then, and then, the West Germans and the army, but the tank turrets were backwards. Okay, so the front of the tank was facing towards the enemy, and then the 88. Well, pardon me, depending upon what tank we were using, the turrets were facing backwards. One day, you want to see how important it was. One day, one of the turrets started rotating towards the East Germans, and you would have thought that we had started World War III, because
Yikes.
I mean, it because they started doing the same thing,
Oh
you know.
God.
And again, I'm over here going, "Good, it's going to be really great when I get off today, because I'm going to the guest house and I'm going to drink 2 gallons of Vinox beer, which is Christmas beer at the time, and drown my sorrows." This is one of the reasons why I ended up in AA, because I always had fun things to do in the military,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And when I get off, at the time, uh, my wife at that time, she'd, "Hey, what'd you do today?" "Nothing." What are you going to say? Well, I almost started World War III. No, but uh, like I say, it was fun for me. It was, the military was like belonging to one big fraternity. Uh, I think about it now. I'm over 70 years old, and I think, had I known I was going to live this long, I would have taken much better care of
Mm,
myself. You know,
I hear that.
but at the time, I just thought, well, it's a job to do. Somebody's got to do it. Why not me? But I did get out 79. Like I say, I didn't know uh, that Desert Storm was coming. Otherwise, I would have normally retired in 1998, 30 years.
Wow.
1997, 30 years. No, use my figures. 1996. So I would have gotten in during a Desert Storm. But at the time, in 1979, we hadn't even gone to Grenada yet. We hadn't done anything. And I figured the American military was not going to get involved in anything ever again. So there wasn't any need for me or anyone like me. And plus, the Army in its infinite wisdom made me a recruiter. And when they did that, I I was a salesman in uniform,
Hmm. Yeah.
and I hated it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I taking these poor kids that really didn't know what they wanted to do, and I sit there. There's one thing you can tell, you can ask other veterans. They know who should be in and who shouldn't. Okay. And I would look at these kids and I'd go, I don't care how much training they're getting, they're never going to make it.
Hmm.
You know? And I wasn't the best recruiter in the world, because um, I would find good candidates, people that I knew would get through basic, get through AIT, and would not go screaming, holding their teddy bear every time a gun was fired. And I mean, I hate to put it that way, but I'm just being honest with you. And so, because not everybody's cut out for the military, you know, it's just there. It is. I'll just leave it at that. Not everybody's cut out for that. So uh, I got I got tired of it. I got tired of putting people in the military that I didn't think should be in the military, just so I could make a quota and keep the powers to be off my back. So enough said. And that's that. There's gonna be a lot of people that go, "You shouldn't have said that," but you know what? That's how I felt, and that's why I got out. That's why I didn't stay.
So
But
68 to 79, you said?
Yeah, about 66 to 79. 60, yeah. Uh, yeah, 79. And I got out in February of 1979.
And so, how much of the time was uh, playing Missile Command? What was the actual title?
But well, actually, it wasn't. I was in charge. I was working with what they call a missile master system, and that's what they used to call it at the time. And if I'd have been able to stay in that, I would have probably even stayed in the army and retired. But the army had other plans for me. So, and like a good soldier, I did what they told me to do. So, and when it came time for me to actually not sign the reenlistment document, I didn't sign it, and we parted ways. And so then I wanted to find something else that was equally as fun to do. So I went into law enforcement. And that I ended up doing for, I went into what they call the Department of Corrections. Well, it was the Department of the Youth Authority is what it was. In California at the time, they used to have, the Department of Corrections, which was for adults, and they had the Department of the Youth Authority, which was for, 12 to, well, actually 24-year-olds, because at the time, the state of California thought young men and women under the age of 25 were still children. That's another story. But anyway, I don't even know if it's that way because there is no such thing as a youth authority anymore. There may be some juvenile prisons within the Department of Corrections, but by the time they made all these changes, I had gotten thrown out. I mean, I had got out, and because the bureaucracy and I, as usually bureaucracies myself, we don't usually get along, which doesn't make sense, does it? He's a soldier,
You're
and
talking
I
to the
got,
wrong guy here. I'm
yeah,
completely with you on that.
yeah. I don't do well in bureaucracies. I don't do well with waste. I don't do well. But anyway, I worked in the Department of Corrections. I was head of, uh, running a security outfit in one of the heavier, fulsome type uh, juvenile 23-year-old kids that pump iron all day. They're
Yeah.
not the safest people to be around,
Yeah. Yeah.
But anyway, and I got hurt and I had to medically retire. So just say I got hurt in a riot. Enough
A
said.
riot. You got hurt
Yeah,
in a riot.
yeah. We had lots of riots, but I was the head of what they call a TAC team, which is the same thing as a CERT team to most of you. And I had big 6'4" knuckle draggers that I fed them meat, to keep them going, raw meat. And my wife, my current wife, Jared's madre, as he calls her, she was a counselor. In fact, she ran a treatment team, and she would counsel her. Her expertise is in child psychology and that type of thing. And then I was on the um, she was on the treatment end, and I was on the let's beat them with a stick end.
Yeah,
That makes sense.
that makes sense.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And so, and that's how we met. Also in a riot, because she was trying to conduct a counseling session with about 50 inmates, and back then they used to call them Crips and Pyrus. Were
Yeah.
two. Uh, she was dealing with two black gangs at the time. One was Crips and one was Pyrus, and they were both in the same day room. And they decided that they didn't want to play nice. So here's my wife in the middle of this riot. And by that time, we're called. I alert my team. We go up there, and I have what they call a 37 millimeter. It's a gas grenade shooting device. And I don't know if you've ever seen um, jailhouse glass. It's got the chicken wire embedded in the glass. You may
Yeah.
have seen it on television.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, you got to ram this thing through there, fire your projectile. Hopefully, they disperse before we bust down the door and go in and start asking them to stop their rioting. So anyway, uh, I go in there and I break the glass, and then I look to see if this projectile is going to hit anyone, because I don't want it to hit anybody because it'll kill them. So I want it to bounce off the floor and explode, and the gas will go everywhere. So I'm looking in there, and here I see she's not my wife at the time, but she's got one basketball player looking character on one end and another guy on the other. She's got their hair like this. And she's up there going, I told you not to fight when I was on duty. Okay. And I stopped, pulled back, and looked at my men. And I said, men, I want you to meet the woman I'm going to marry. So, and that's how we met. And she had it pretty well under control, by the time I got there. But that's just the kind of person I married. She got me under control, put it that way. And so I stayed there until, various and sundry ups and downs. Sometimes it was quiet. Sometimes you earn your money all in 1 hour.
Okay? Wow.
You earn your entire year's salary in 1 hour. Like I said, then I got hurt, retired, and I was quite happy basically being retired. I went back to university, was working my graduate degree. I wanted to be a history teacher.
Good for you.
And so I wanted to be a history teacher. And when I was a TA, my professor called me in and said, Clay, I know you want to be a teacher, but with your kind of personality, you may be into the principal's office a lot more than the kids are. So I don't think I do that.
That's nonsense.
Yeah. So, but anyway, I went ahead, got my credentials and everything, and I was going to teach. I was going to try, like Valley college level that time, because I figured, but something happened at Twin Towers, and I got this, hey, would you like to come to work for Homeland Security? And I thought about it a minute, and I thought, well, last time, 1979 was the first, that's the Army. Well, working in civilian life, federal government would probably be different.
So you took it? You took the job?
Yeah, I did.
Cool. That's interesting.
And, well, I ended up working for that dreaded agency, ICE. Okay.
What's ICE? I don't know.
Well, okay. When 9/11 happened, everybody knew INS, the Coast Guard and all. What they did was they split, or they gobbled up. They started this Homeland Security, and they kind of gobbled up a lot of these agencies like Secret Service, and the Coast Guard, Customs and Border Patrol. ICE was Immigration and Customs Enforcement. There was a lot of air marshals were part of it.
I see.
There was about 21 different agencies were all a part of this, and I was a little bit too old and a little bit too decrepit to get into the enforcement to be an officer. I guess I'm trying to so you'd understand what I'm talking about. The ICE have officers that are CBP, which is Customs and Border Protection. They take care of the border, but once something happens inside the border, then ICE kind of that's more their jurisdiction.
Okay.
Well, I decided that, and rather than be a police officer, which I was too old to be by that time, because the federal government has age distinction. At least they did back then. I don't know about now. But anyway, back then, You couldn't be older than 35. So they gave me, I worked in communications, and I would make sure that everybody had good communications. And I would go to these meetings, and like every bureaucracy, well, let me put it this way. If I could get you a brand new Ford F-150 out of a fleet of about 5,000 vehicles, but I couldn't get, at that time now, only speaking about that time, not present. At that time, I couldn't get you a working radio. Does that make any sense to you?
No, that doesn't make any sense at all.
Okay. That's just a small example. Uh, it appeared to me that we were fighting kind of a different kind of a war. It's the first time since Pearl Harbor that we'd ever been attacked. The mainland had been attacked, but everybody was too worried about Xerox machines. And I lasted for about 18 months. I remember listening to a meeting, at the time, I think when 9/11 hit, I don't quote me on this. I'm only making it as part of the story. But there were very few air marshals at the time. And I was overhearing a meeting. And if you know what a GS is in government service, these were all GS 1415s. They're all sitting around this table, and they're discussing what a air marshal should wear. And they're discussing, well, I think we ought to wear this. And I'm over here writing some down. Mr. Huckabee, we were discussing what an air marshal should wear. What do you think air marshals should wear? We know you're not a part of this organization, but what do you think with your experience? And I kind of looked at him and I'm going, number one, why are we having this lengthy discussion on what an air marshal should wear? I want my air marshal to look like a drug addict. I don't want anybody on the plane to know he's an air marshal.
Yeah.
And it just seemed really a simple question to me. So I lasted for 18 months. And then finally I filled out a letter of resignation, and I told him, I says, when you guys are serious about, doing what we should be doing and not arresting those that we probably shouldn't, give me a call.
Yeah.
They still haven't called. So anyway.
Well, it could be any day. You never know.
Yeah.
Cross my fingers for you.
I don't think so. I think they felt the same way that they did the last bureaucracy I fought. Don't call this guy Huckabee anymore. Okay. But that's why, which is a good segue for the Star Citizen, is one of the reasons why I love Star Citizens, because I don't want people to take this the wrong way, like I'm some kind of nut that needs this thing in order for me to survive. But Star Citizen was kind of like a second chance for me. It's a game by any other terminology, but for me, it's more of an alternate reality, for a lack of any other words. It's a chance to make decisions that I thought should have been made based on a set of circumstances. If a set of circumstances happens in the game, wow, I know what to do there because I've seen that before. Because I think there's a book running around that says everything goes around comes around. Or everything under the sun. But the thing is that I found Star Citizen to be something that I could apply my experience, my education, and my knowledge to a game, and not have it tell me what to do.
Yeah.
But I could tell it what I wanted to do. And that's been from the very beginning. There's a lot of people. I don't know how many times you've heard this, but I know I've heard it a lot. While I'm waiting, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying anything bad about people that say this. I'm just saying I've heard many people say, I'm waiting for 3.0 or 3.9 or
Yeah,
4.5. Okay.
yeah, yeah.
10.6. Okay.
10.6.
I,
That's it.
you know, you know anything about, if you know anything about Star Citizen, you know it's never going to be finished.
Yes, thank you for saying that.
Okay. I knew that when Jared was, I don't know if those of you that remember Jared before he was working with CIG, he was doing all the little modeling and having the little, Disco Lando shows, and it's actually how he got noticed by Chris Roberts was when he was doing these shows, promoting his own little Star Citizen commercial, I guess. And and I'm ended up watching. I was captivated by it. I'm going, what the heck is he talking about? I'm listening, and I read the vision of Chris Roberts, and I'm going, oh my God, does he realize if he accomplishes 25 to 50% of what he wants to do, he'll have the greatest thing that's ever been accomplished electronically, besides something that saves lives or what. And even that,
Yeah,
who knows?
yeah.
Okay. But it's when I read it, it came to me, I like to say it was a vision from above, but hey, it just hit me and it went, this thing is never going to end. His vision is to make something that no one ever has ever done. And so far, that's why I really don't get frustrated. Now, I get frustrated with the mechanics. My sticks don't work. I have to rebind something. Yes, I get frustrated with the mechanics, but the beta version and the patches and all this stuff, that doesn't bother me because I know what's coming. I know that it'll get fixed sooner or later. Uh, it's just I just know that what we're playing today will not be the same thing we're playing next year. And it doesn't, I understand the frustrations people have. People are human. I just don't happen to have the same frustrations because to me, I think, before when we were discussing, while we were doing the setup, I'm going to say something that's probably going to get me killed on the air.
Great.
I'm not a real gamer as such, as I have played Halo. I played Destiny. I played about 5 minutes of Ark Survival. I don't, I don't get enthused. If there's a competition going on between my sons or something like that, and we're playing, I like that. That was kind of cool. But as an individual sitting down, I I'm going, the games have nothing, they don't thrill me. Okay. When I played Star Citizen, the first time I played it way back, uh, it reminded me of sitting there with a Nike missile trying to shoot
That's
down.
what I was thinking. You've been playing Missile Command for 30 years.
Yeah. And I went, my God, it's back. But it's back bigger than better than ever.
Yeah.
But there was more to it. There was when the org concept came into it. And I looked at the possibilities of the org. I said, all right, I can see some orgs being like fraternal organizations. I could see them being a social club. I could see them being an attempt to, okay, let's all get together on a Saturday night and fly. Okay, that's cool. That's great. I didn't see it that way. First thing I looked at when I saw that org, I said, you know what? I see something that if I work hard enough at it and I get enough people that believe the same way I do, we can belong to an org that is going to talk like the military, walk like the military, act like the military, address each other like the military, and play like the military. Okay. Not in the sense that, let me qualify that, military, paramilitary. Let's put it that way. Because, and then you know what the nice thing about it is you don't have to be a vet or you don't have to be a cop to enjoy that kind of stuff. It's easy to pick up. I mean, it's of course it's easy to pick up. Otherwise, the army wouldn't have lasted this long.
That's true.
Okay,
Yeah.
it's designed to create success. It's designed to create a goal that everybody there knows what that goal is, and they do things to achieve it to its ultimate success. Now, don't get me wrong, I love when Jiren does his 890J stuff, and we fly around, with 39 luxury liners, and we're all fly. I love it. Okay. Now, is that what I like to do that all the time? No, but I like being a part of it because he's doing something. He's getting everybody to go at least the same way at the same time. You understand what I'm saying?
Yep. Event organizers.
Huh? So I'm going, now let's just take it a step further. When I first started, if I can show you this thing right here. Can you see that?
I can see it. Yep.
Yep. That was IDAI. Okay. That was the first organization. That was the only organization actually that I started. When I started that, that's what I had in mind. I wanted to get like-minded people together, and we would fly missions together, and we do it in such a way that I'm going to use a military term here that veterans will know. There wouldn't be any grab ass. It would be serious but fun at the same time. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
It would be there would be a commander, there would be like a wing commander, there would be a flight commander, there would be pilots, there would be Marines, there would be mechanics, there would be hospital people, everything you would have in any type of military, paramilitary, or mil-sim, as some like to call it, you would have. Okay. Each person knows what they have to do. Each person is willing to do what they have to do. And each person is not sitting there playing jokes on each other and interrupting each other, talking over each other. Because what drives me crazy is I'm trying to get something done and there's a time to tell stories like today, like right now. And there's a time to be serious during a game. Huh? Does that make sense? It's like, hey guys, let's get the 6 of us, 12 of us, 30 of us, hopefully, and we get together and we get in a couple of hammerheads and we take on anything or anyone at any time, and we do it so well. We do it so well that the person on the other end or the people on the other end goes, who were those guys? Okay. That's what I want. That's what I want to see. And I know it can be done. I know there are other people that are like-minded. We just have to find each other. Okay. So I found, this is another reason why, let me show you something else. Here, the League of Extraordinary Citizens.
Oh, yeah.
Is that backwards or do you got it?
Yeah.
All right. Director Gunner. I don't know if a lot of you know him or not, but out of Las Vegas. he was we were he was talking to me. And he says, "Hey, look, could we do something special that we can get together?" And while he was talking, I thought, a league of extraordinary citizens, people that had the dedication to Star Citizen as much, if not more, if that's possible, than I do.
Did you accomplish that goal?
As of today, I don't know how many people are in that Discord, but I think there's over 100, 150. But you see, it's not the number; it's the dedication. If I had, believe me, if I had 10 people, can you imagine being able to? Let's. Can you imagine being able to, without the NPC involved? I'm talking, which is good for a single player, obviously, but can you imagine having enough people to man, say, a Polaris and a couple of hammerheads, and you were out protecting somebody, like Daymar Rally or something? Nobody's going to mess with you because if you're all coordinated and you're all doing what you're supposed to be doing, and you're all serious while you're doing it, you can't. You're going to be undefeatable. Word there, yeah. You understand what I'm saying?
Invincible, I would say. How about that?
Invincible. I
Yeah.
like that word. I'm stealing it from you. I've just taken it from you. Thank you. And this is what I thought. Okay, let me put together the League of Extraordinary Citizens, and hopefully I can draw, if not from those individuals themselves, maybe they know somebody that maybe is in their org, or they know somebody that wants to belong to Star Citizen that just hasn't because they're waiting for 10.6. Okay. Somebody, okay,
Yeah.
they know somebody. Hey, look, you want to have some fun and be serious at the same time? Go find Dad. Go find Dad Lando, and he's going to offer you what was offered to me just recently, as a matter of fact. My friends in Javelin, you know, Star and Gunhog. Uh, we talked about it, and I submitted proposals, and I wanted to put together one specific unit, okay, Milsim, 275th Special Space Operations Regiment, the regiment for short. Okay. Now there are a lot of people that are trying and doing a really good job of the same thing. I just want to take it a step further. I want to take it to where not only is the training extensive, but the playing is, the drills are extensive. The conduct is going to be based on honor, integrity, pride to a certain extent, not necessarily ego. Ego has another place. Uh, but pride in doing something that is well worth doing. And just achieving that, remember that thing? Hey, who were those guys? When we get done playing a mission or taking on another group or taking on a group of pirates and whatever, I want the opposing side to ask that question. I don't know who those guys were, or those people were. Excuse me, I'm 70 years old. I don't know who those peoples were, but the ladies and gentlemen that are in that group knew what the heck they were doing, and they do it well, and they like what they're doing. They like each other, and they respect each other. That's what I wanted,
The
and that's what I. Go ahead.
the bases that you have around orgs, like, do you get this from Halo? Did you like learn a lot of this stuff from Halo?
uh, I guess you could. The short answer is yes, but no. Okay. what I intend to do with the 275th is not what I learned in Halo, but it's what I learned out of life's experience. It's what I've learned out of running teams in the military, what I've learned from running teams in paramilitary outfits, in making decisions in a game is not necessarily going to kill somebody, but I want to make them that if you made the wrong one in real life, it would kill somebody. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
It makes sense. I wonder if like from my experience, I just noticed that there's a difference between people who play video games and people who are in the real world, especially when it comes to being serious in operations, because
Mhm.
people don't take games quite as seriously as they do real life. Like, how do you work around that? That's why I asked about Halo. Did you learn stuff from Halo to kind of work around this problem?
It had a lot to do with there are a lot of people that can't role play, okay? And therefore they don't play games or they don't role play for whatever reason. Either they find it corny or they do find it they're not they find it too nerdy. Well, I'll tell you what. I'm about as nerdy as the next guy. But there's something when I was in uniform and I'm walking down the street, I'm role playing.
Yeah, that's
I'm
so
not
true.
acting I'm
Yeah.
not acting the same way I do when I'm in a t-shirt and a pair of jeans. When I when I get called up and I am in uniform and I'm loaded for bear and I've got to go in and break up a 200 person riot, I'm role playing because when those inmates see me, I need to project to them, hey, I'm not the jovial, nice guy that I appear to everyone else. I'm deadly serious. Okay. It's role playing. That's what we do. It's what we do all the time. We just don't realize it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so that's how I put my real life experience into this is why I say I wasn't a gamer as such before Star Citizen. What I saw in Star Citizen is I could do anything I wanted. I didn't have to wait for Star Citizen to say, hey, do this mission or do that mission or go to this extent. I could when I first started the IDEAI, I found people in Europe and uh, all over Europe, in Russia, East Coast, West Coast. We got together, 5, 6, 7 of us. Oh God, I loved it when we had at least 7. And we would get together. We didn't need to play a mission. We would invent one.
Yeah.
We we told Star Citizen what we wanted to do and we did it. This is why I could never understand. What are you waiting for? It's there now. Sure. Yeah, there are bugs. Okay. You know what? Working around things builds character.
Yep. That's true.
Okay.
That's true.
So that's how I justified. I put my real life experience into the game and hope I can help someone, teach someone, learn from somebody. I played with a couple of SEALs before.
Cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
Active duty. I mean, like I said, I hate to say this. I belong to the old time army. I was still, I didn't even eat MREs when I was in the army. We were still eating C rations. Okay.
Wow.
Night, World War II. I think my dad ate those.
Wow.
Okay. But these guys, it's the discipline.
Mm-hmm.
The call signs may be different. The way you assault a building may be different now. The way the weapons may be different. But the basic premise will always be the same. Discipline, work together, teamwork for a common goal to accomplish it and accomplish it successfully. To me, that sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah. Have you I've seen a couple of orgs similar to that. Just like they're it's really interesting. My perspective is that I'm not overly invested in I mean, I love Ultima and the brand that I'm building with Ultima, but I'm not overly estimated or invested because I'm just trying to learn as much as I can right now. I
Sure.
don't know much about forming organizations in video games. Like I'm a software project manager, so like my skill set's totally different. But what I'm seeing is that there's people who are injecting their real world skill into games, and there's a culture that's being created because of that. So like a friend of mine, Atlantis, runs Nova Intergalactic. Maybe you've heard of them, but they're like this recruiting on crack kind of thing, right? They got so many members and whatever. And then you have Test Squadron, right? And then you have
Mhm.
Matadors. And I mean, and then, I just think about ADI, Atlas Defense Industry. Have you heard of them before? Because they
Mhm.
do a similar type of uh, military, paramilitary, role play kind of thing. Um, do you find that you would introduce something different than that? You know,
Only to the extent the mission would be different.
missions are different.
Okay.
Gotcha.
Uh, you see, they saw basically the same thing I saw at the very beginning. They saw that they could apply their real life experiences, create an organization, take that expertise and build upon it and create something marvelous. Okay. And they're doing it. Uh, I lost count last time I checked, Montoya's organization, well, they had 15. Last time I checked, they had 15,000 people.
That's
You know what?
crazy.
I can only dream about something like that. But the thing is I do know that the larger the organization, the harder it is to control.
100%.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's just uh, the most at any one time that I've ever had direct control over was 470,
That's still a lot.
475
Which
people.
org was that with?
That was when I was working in the prison.
Oh, I see. My
Okay.
apologies.
And by the time you do the scheduling and uh, get everybody, put the right person in the right slot who's trained. You don't want to put, you know, the wrong person in the wrong area. Uh, everybody has their expertise. Everybody has their strength, and you try to find. That's what a leader does. You try to find their strengths, and you let them capitalize on those strengths.
Mm.
And then, if you can, you try to cross train a little bit. And sometimes the cross training is successful. Sometimes it's not, but you still have them just the same. But I can't wait. Like right now, I think I've purchased just about all the ships I'm going to purchase based on the the uh, sorry, Chris, I know you didn't want to hear that. Based on the mission that the 275th is going to have, and also IDAI, which is still going to remain an org, because some ships don't mean anything to me. I've never purchased some ships because I have no desire to fly them. They look pretty, but I don't need them. They don't fit into my modality, so to speak. You know, uh, right now I've got a command ship in the Polaris. I've got multitude of I think three hammerheads. I've got an MIS. I love the MIS. That answer. Um, maybe medical ships, and I have repair ships. Uh, there's probably a few other ships that I can't remember right off the top of my head, but I know every ship that I purchased it with a particular goal, accomplishing that goal in mind. Uh, I love those luxury liners, but it's just not feasible for me because, it's too pretty for me to go into combat with, uh, although it has some pretty good turrets and, you know, anything manned by an excellent pilot and an excellent gunners can do just about anything. You and I both know that. But like I said, it's just not my cup of tea. But uh, hopefully, with with the help of Javelin and Sunstar, who is actually my number one person in IDAI, who's doing a bang up job of keeping that org alive, and I'm his just under him as a commander of the 275th. Well, he's the XO and acting commander right now. I want to be around people like Ed. I want to be around people like Jordan. I want to be around. Forgive me if I don't mention all your names because I'm not a
There's lots of
professional
names.
broadcaster.
Lots of
But
names.
there's lots of names. But you already know who you are because you know how I react to you. You already know that I like the type of person you are. Which, well, I've got you on here. I wanted to show you something that I just got in the mail today. That's a challenge coin that I'll be handing out at CitizenCon.
So you heard it here first, folks. CitizenCon 2020, Los Angeles, confirmed by Dad Lando. That's gonna go on YouTube, and I hope Disco watches that.
Yeah. Well, and
oh yeah, there we go.
I just got this one in today.
Is that metal?
Oh yeah, it's very thick. As a matter of fact, it's metal with a ribbed, and
Very
on the
nice.
back of it, I don't know if you could see it. It says "Defend the Verse," Commodore Dad Lando, CitizenCon 2950, Los Angeles, California. Okay, and I'll have those, and then for those of you that are in the League of Extraordinary Citizens, come and see me while I'm there, and I'll give you a lapel pin.
Oh, nice.
And of course, and if you can't, obviously, if you can't be there during CitizenCon, hey, give me a private message, and I'll put one aside for you, and I'll mail it to you, bring it to your house, whatever. It's not like everybody doesn't know who I am, so I'm sure you could trust me with your mailing address. But anyway, let me know, and I'll get it to you one way or the other. And of course, you saw this. This is what I gave out in Austin. I have no problem with shameless self-promotion, by the way. Okay, I want this very badly, and not necessarily. I'm not making any money off this stuff. You guys know that, and I want to have fun. I want it to mean something, and I want people around me that want it to be fun and want it to mean something also. So, other than that, geez, I wish I could have talked a little bit more. But you got you got some more questions?
Oh yeah, I haven't even started my questions yet, actually.
Okay, sure.
So we could actually start now. Let me just hit the go live button, and no, I gotta say, the League of Extraordinary Citizens is one of my favorite Discords. I know I don't talk very much in it, but it's like I'm constantly lurking, and it's the one that I didn't shut any of the notifications off for it because the bots are really good in it. And if ever I need something, anything at all, I can go there and I can ask people. And also, there's also people who like are doing cool projects and they publish it in there.
Mm-hmm.
So you got a heck of a thing going on there.
Yeah. And that was, like I said, that started. That's a perfect example of like-minded people falling into the same area and going, "Hey, we're all alike. Let's do it." And that's what they did. And it's growing. And like you say, you've already seen what you can learn in there. I go in there, hey, I can't get this to work. What do I do? Somebody tells me.
And there's a race. Did you notice that? It's like who can respond to Dad Lando's question first.
That's only you're very kind. And it is a great bunch of people. And I'll tell you something else that's different about, you just reminded me something that's different about games as opposed to Star Citizen, called respect. There are a few granted. I'll get on to play. I'm usually on very late at night or very early in the morning or in the afternoon, or sometimes I'll just play 24 hours, at any time. I don't have a specific time. Sometimes I just get on, but sometimes I'll get into a server that I'm going to put this as gentle as I possibly can. I feel like I'm back at the prison because it's a bunch of people that I would rather. I'm going. These are Star Citizens. These are
Hmm.
not the Star Citizens that I know. Okay, and love. But I say it's a you've got them everywhere, and as I'm always reminded of is Star Citizen can't all be perfect. Not the game, not the people in it, but we can certainly try. And for the most part, like the League of Extraordinary Citizens, absolutely wonderful people. Every last one of them. And I mean that. Uh, they're just great people.
I'm happy to shoulder those compliments on their behalf. So thank you. I'm representing them. I say thank you.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, it's Star Citizen's wild. Hey, it's like there's different generations that come and go, and I love it. Like as a streamer, I get to talk to so many unique individuals that are just random, completely random. People who are never seen it before, people who join in 3.5, and the people from 3.5 got a way different perspective than people who started in 3.2 or 3.0.
Mhm.
I love that. That's like one of my favorite parts of the community, and just their perspective is so much different. Um, how has your 3.8 experience been so far? Do you have any cool stories from 3.8, or like is it preventing you from anything right now? Do you find, or is you're
No,
pretty happy
like I
with it?
said, I the problems I experienced, the frustrations the game bugs and stuff like that, they really don't frustrate me. It's just something that I've learned to. Things don't go right all the time. The tank gets stuck in the mud. The gun doesn't. You get a misfire. I mean, those kind of things happen all the time. What frustrates me is when my equipment doesn't work right.
Hmm.
Okay,
Yeah.
and that's what I've been experiencing this last patch is because I'm constantly trying to find. I don't know if you had a chance to see the chair that I recently purchased.
No.
Maybe. Well, okay. I was looking. I bought chairs that Jared said, these are comfortable. I go, oh yeah, they're comfortable, but they're not exactly. And I bought chairs that weren't so comfortable, and I bought rollers, and I bought lounge chairs, and I couldn't find. So I went to visit a friend of mine in the hospital. Those chairs that you can kind of flip back on, and they're lounge chairs, except they got the big old wheels on the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
Sitting by. And I looked at these, and I looked down, and I says, you know what? I like this chair. It's comfortable. So I bought one. Right.
Okay.
So the only thing is, it's bigger than the game room I had built in my house is supposed to take. So I have a hard time maneuvering it around. So consequently, I put wheels. I on my right stick. I I welded a table that is at a slight angle, and so that I can put my right stick on it. And then when I moved my chair, I got out of the line of my right stick. So I put wheels on that so that I could move my right stick closer. And then I got my left stick and that moved out of line. So I put wheels. I got wheels on everything.
That's good.
Okay.
It's important.
So if I take a picture and show people this is my rig, they go, wow, it looks different than it did yesterday. Well, I know, but that's because I moved my chair and I have to rearrange everything. Okay. So there's probably where I'm broadcasting from right now is my shop slash studio slash uh, laundry room, whatever. Uh, and I may end up moving everything out of that smaller. I had a small room just dedicated to Star Citizen, and which is kind of a feat if you know my wife. But anyway, uh, it probably she told me I should make it bigger, and I didn't
It's a
listen.
smart person there.
Uh huh. She is. Well, she knows me.
Yeah.
See, she knows when I start out with something, it's going to get bigger, and so now I may end up moving it to where I am now, so that I can, move backwards and forwards and around and play Star Citizen and laugh and have fun with everybody without the neighbors that come over to visit my wife going, "Is your husband okay? Who's he talking to?" You know, why does he sound like he's having a battle? Uh, you know. Well, they figure a guy, my age, what's he in there? He's not going to be in there playing games, right? Little do they know.
um,
But go ahead.
no, I think that's interesting. It's something I was going to ask you is age difference in Star Citizen is quite vast. I feel like I'm the average age, by the way. I'm like mid 30s. And I
Hmm.
think I'm halfway. Like the far end is obviously people in their 60s, 70s, maybe 80s. I don't know. And the 20-year-olds, 19-year-olds, we're all here together. But what's your perspective? What's it like, kind of being the old guy here? With as much respect as possible.
Well, I only know that, or I only feel that when I go to something like, well, I've only been to one. They had a concierge dinner in L.A. one year, and I went there. And then when I go to CitizenCon, and I look around, and I find myself gravitating to gray hair.
Yeah.
You know, uh, not really. I in my business, in the jobs that I've had, the careers that I have, you have to be able to deal with everyone, all ages, at any time. So it's not like I was sitting in an office with a bunch of, people my same age. Like my dad used to be a banker, before he passed on, and he had, secretaries, and then he had board of directors, and they were all his same age. So he's used to dealing with people his same age, and then very younger who he just told what to do. With me being in the military and in law enforcement, you're going to have people that just got out of training, just got out of the academy, and you're going to have people that are ready to retire. So you got to be able to deal with both. But when I noticed the difference when I do go to Citizen Cons, or something with Star Citizen. Not so much the bar citizens that we have, that I've attended, because it's uh, well, everybody's over 21 for one thing.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, uh, when I go to a citizen cons, I do notice that I do feel like the oldest person there. Okay, and then I'll see, I haven't seen you since last, and we kind of gravitate to each other. You're still alive. And you know, but it's a good combination, and it's a necessary one, because there's just a I learned just as much from young people as I hope they learn from me.
Yeah. I noticed that as I'm getting older as well, is I really appreciate the words of young people because their
Mhm,
opinion, their perspectives are priceless. Because I am
mhm.
so enwrapped in my own ego, in my own biases, and they're free of all of that, and they're free of a lot of egos out there. So it's kind of refreshing. It washes the brain a little bit when you can soak that up. I gotta say though, like I'm really inspired by the fact that you're able to kind of be within your age group and still participate in this because I feel like I don't know if it's intimidation, but it seems like there's a certain generation that doesn't accept video games maybe or electronic entertainment like this.
Oh,
Um
oh, 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 you are you are so right. I You know who criticizes me the most? It's not the young people.
it's the old
It's my
people.
age.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Uh, I'll go to church, and I'm sitting around. I like I'm when I first moved up here to Utah, I was like the youngest guy in my church. Okay. So, because this part of the country that I live in is a very old, some of these people have owned their ranches and their farms for, it's been in the family for 150 years, you know. So, here comes this young 70-year-old whippersnapper, and he's talking about, well, church is over, got to go play games. and and they're going, what? You're you're not going to study the Bible today? And I'm going, you know what? God knows that, like, I used to be a Catholic, and when Lent would come, most everybody would give up something that they, candy when I was a kid, or they give up something. Uh I kind of, if I want to sacrifice, I sacrifice. Okay, I'll give up Star Citizen for a week,
Hmm.
or give up Star Citizen.
Wow.
That is a sacrifice for me.
Hmm.
Okay, but it means something. See what I'm saying? The sacrifice doesn't mean anything unless it means something. But anyway, that's, oh, where am I going with this? But anyway, it 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 it's the older people until you talk to them,
Yeah.
and they're going, "You're one of those. You play those games. Don't you know that games cause a complete disruption of society, and
Is that
and
what they
and it
think?
teaches kids how to kill, and they become so blasé about murder and death." And I'm going, I was a professional soldier for 12 years.
Yeah.
Okay, I do not get blasé about anything.
Mm.
Okay, and no game. I mean, I've got two grandsons that two grandsons, and my granddaughters are going to kill me. Three granddaughters, three grandsons, three granddaughters. It'll get worse as the night
That's
goes
true.
on.
Yeah.
But uh, they they don't. I'm glad that they don't think of me like that old fuddy duddy that has old weird ideas. Now, I do have some old weird ideas. Don't get me wrong. Uh, but weird in the sense that a younger person would find them weird or passe or whatever. But there's certain things that still remain the same: honesty, integrity, you know, uh, courtesy. That still remains the same, or at least it should anyway. But no, it's funny you mentioned that, because the people that I've had to explain myself the most to is the people my age and older.
I could
And
just imagine you in public or something, and you're walking into an auditorium, and people are like whispering in the background, "Oh, that's the guy who plays video games. Don't hang out with him."
I know. I wonder who he's going to kill next.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, no. You know what? Like I said, I was surprised. I was telling you earlier today, I crushed my phone, and I was putting in the contacts, and I realized I have 504 contacts, and I'm going, how can I have that many friends? I don't. If I get one phone call a day, okay, I'm lucky. I don't. I'm a loner by design, and I don't, I don't party. I used to when I used to drink, but I mean that was totally out of control then. But but that was 35, 36 years ago. But now I've been not drinking for as long as you're probably. How old are you?
35.
Yeah, see, I've been not drinking longer than you've been alive. But anyway, it it and don't get me wrong, I got nothing against drinking. It's just that it wasn't good for me.
No.
Okay, there. I envy the people that can control it, but I'm wandering off down in the yellow brick road again. But anyway, um, it's funny that, and some of them understand it, and some of them, as a matter of fact, I may even have a convert to Star Citizen. I I have a guy that comes out and I have a fifth wheel that I don't do much with because that would mean I'd have to go somewhere and socialize when I got to a campground, and I don't want to do that. Besides that, they don't have great enough internet, and I can't play Star Citizen at a campground, just the ones I've been going to. So I don't go. But anyway, I have a guy that comes out and he repairs the things on my trailer. If I want to add another air conditioning or better internet or something. And I was talking to him. He saw me and he saw what I was doing. I have this rather large screen that I play it on. And he's watching me. He's going to ask me a question, but he's sitting there watching before he answers so he didn't interrupt me. And he's watching, and I could see him in the background. I could see the reflection of the screen. He's going, and I'm going, you play games? He goes, is that what that is? I thought you were flying, And I'm going, in space? Come on, But no, and he's about 45, I guess. And but he's a kind of a motorcycle enthusiast, not a gamer, but I think he's coming around, So I gave him my referral number just in case he joins Star Citizen.
Yeah.
And but I haven't seen him yet. Although I did get one person. He was back east. I haven't seen him since he joined like 5 years ago. I don't know where he is. I thought I'd send him a postcard. But that's mainly it. It's just been older people that the younger people, they just go, hey, cool, man. That's all I get.
Yeah.
Hey, that's cool. They don't, oh, wow, an old guy like you playing games. They just go, hey, that's cool. They accept it just like that. Old people, not so much.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it wouldn't be, my brother, who's about 10 years older than me, he doesn't play games at all. I am old in a lot of people's eyes. Oh, no worries. And I shouldn't be playing video games either. So, you know how it is. And by the way, I also don't identify as a gamer, quote unquote, because I've been playing Microsoft Flight Simulator and Kerbal Space Program. If you've heard about those games, that's basically what my history is all about. Apart from playing Ultima, but that's a story for another time. But how much do you actually play Star Citizen? I do it about 3 hours a day. How much do you do it?
Not as much as I'd like to. When I first started getting into it, I was averaging about 6 hours a day. Now, only because when I built this house, I didn't have internet connection for almost a year, and I was going to Star Citizens Anonymous. It was horrible. If I could figure out a way that I could, none of the laptops I had would play the doggone thing, and but during when I got back into the house, it was a slow startup for me again. It I basically had to relearn the game.
Oh, of course. I feel like that's the nature of Star Citizen in a nutshell.
Yeah, and this last time, when I didn't realize what I was getting into, I had forgotten. Let's put it that way. I should have realized, but I had forgotten when I went from the T 16,000s to dual warthogs. I had a friend of mine, Jared, put me in touch with a guy up in years ago. I said, if I could only get these warthogs to fit my left hand properly. He said, there's this guy I don't work with him. I've never done anything with him, but I've got this name that makes the printing, the 3D printing.
Oh, yes.
So I contacted this guy, email, said, can you do this on a warthog? He says, yeah, send me the whole thing. Well, I mean, sending the whole apparatus to a complete stranger, I'm going, well, what the heck? What have I got to lose except another stick? And it came back, and it was still in the box as of about 4 weeks ago, about a month ago, because I started finding things that I'm still unpacking after the house is built. So I took the T16,000s, put them aside, put the bought a base for the new one. So now I've got the dual warthogs. Number one, I have to get used because I don't have roll. There's no twist. So that, don't twist. And so I fixed that. So then I thought, well, hell, everything's off. Excuse my French, but it says everything's off here. I got to redo my rebinding, and this is the rebinding from Hades. I did 62 rebinds just for those two sticks. I sat down, and when I would do a yaw, it would go in one direction. When I did yaw to the right, it'd still go to the left. And I did a pitch, and it'd still go up and down in circles. And I'm going, oh my God, what have I done? And I've wrestled with this, and I've wrestled with this, and finally I said, you know what? I'm going to contact CIG. Don't usually contact them.
Don't deal with the ants, right?
Yeah, I don't usually do that. Yeah, and I got this. I wrote him and said, "This is what's happening." And I got this very nice email that said, "Hi, Dad Lando, how are you? We don't usually, make suggestions about hardware or something like that, and we are going to make some modifications to joysticks coming up shortly," which I was glad to hear. But then he said, "P.S. Take your user file. Get rid of it."
Right.
And I went, "Oh, God."
Yep.
You stupid. What a rookie mistake that was.
Well, it's good that the problem was that easy, though.
It was.
Yeah.
It was. Of course, I took the XML sheet out of the mappings first. I put it on and then I put it back after I started it back up, after I deleted the folder. I'm flying, and it was great. Although, honestly, the Logitech 3D Pro, the dual 3D Pros I find them still easier to control than dual warthogs, especially when I'm flying the flying elephant like a star lifter, and you go like this and it goes,
Yep.
And you're going, okay, anytime now, but it's it's something you get used to. Like I said, I've been flying dual sticks for years and years, almost since the beginning.
I don't see the problem with the twist, though. I mean, I have twist. I swear by my twist. What's wrong with twist?
I don't, like I said, I don't see the problem with it. I just wanted to use the warthog.
Right. And
the reason I wanted to use the warthog was because it also came with a throttle that seemed very lonely in the box. So like I said, I did everything and everything seems to be working. Although I still have a problem with the cruise. I find myself still using the C as opposed to the toggle on my, and I'm going, why did I do the toggle?
Whatever works for you, though, really, whatever's comfortable.
Yeah, that's what I've come to realize is when I tell people, what kind of rig do you have? And I'm going, whatever works.
Yeah.
I would still like to find, if somebody has a better idea, I'd love to hear it. I still like to EVA and I still like to walk with a controller. I just find it.
That's interesting.
I just find it easy. I use everything.
Yeah.
I got the controller, the keyboard, the mouse, the sticks, the throttle. I'm at the inside, like I said, the wife comes through and shows people, and this is the bedroom, and this is the den, and they go, "What is that?" Well, this is where my husband plays games. Yeah, okay. You did say he was in the military once. I know he's controlling, all IBCBMs from that room.
Is that what it looks like? Do you have the switches and all that?
That's what it looks like.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, that's what it looks like.
My big dream, if I ever get like a man cave or whatever you'd call that, is I've always wanted, and you'll have to hook me up with the guy who did your joysticks as well, because I really would like to build the controls for the Lunar Excursion module. The one that Grumman built.
Yes.
Dual joysticks as well, or pretty gosh darn close to dual joysticks.
Excuse me for looking around, but I'm trying to see if I left the box. I have the UPS priority box somewhere. It's got his return address on there.
Yeah, you have to connect me with it for sure. But I will just issue a caveat. They had Twist. They used Twist for the translational controls. So I think those NASA engineers had it right.
Well, I like the Twist when it came to the roll, as opposed to, I don't have very good movement in my feet, for pedals. I can't operate pedals. So I had to depend on the Twist for roll. And I found it very effective, and it lasted for a long time. But now I'm getting just as used to using a hat to left roll, right roll, that type of thing. It's all in what you get used to.
Yep, that's exactly right. No, and I sent you the Star Racing thing before, so I work with the talented racers from Marina Commander, and some of those guys, they just use mouse and keyboard. So again, whatever you're comfortable with, right?
God love them.
Oh man,
well, see, you see these, I'm missing knuckles, and when I get to work at a keyboard, it's, hey man, I'm a vet. You know what I mean? No, it doesn't work for me well. I don't have the dexterity on a keyboard to hit two keys at the same time, much less hit the right one. But if I'm doing, I can grip a lot easier and use my thumbs and the pinkies, and well, this pinky anyway. I can pretty well do it. And I can always do this and flick switches. But manipulating that keyboard,
yeah,
it's a lot harder for me. So I bump into doors when I walk, because the W in the mouse, and they're going, "What's this guy? Where's this guy walking to?" Anyway,
I had something written down here that I had to mention to you. Is that every time I watch Dune, which seems to be a lot lately, I always think of you when I see Shaddam the Fourth. Are you familiar with this guy? Yeah. All right. The reference is gotten then. So that's there then. Also, you're a big fan of the VoIP feature, hey?
You know what? If I had my druthers, I'd get okay. I love Discord. Don't get me wrong. I love the people. They did a wonderful thing. But if I had my druthers, I'd never use Discord again.
Yeah.
Okay. And not because it's not effective. It is. You and I both know, everybody knows that Discord is very effective at what it does. It interfaces well with Star Citizen, it interfaces well. But what it doesn't do, it doesn't sound like a radio. Okay?
Yeah.
The VoIP, when I get on there and I'm talking to an Air Force pilot, or I'm talking to, an artillery unit or an artillery battery somewhere, and I'm calling in fire, I want it to sound like what I remember radio sounds like. 2-4 fire mission over, 4 fire mission out, and it sounds like the radio. That's what gives the immersion to me. So when I can get on there and I can find somebody that, now I've never lied and said my Discord was not working, but okay, when I find somebody on there and they want to play, I'm going, VoIP. Oh man, you want to use the VoIP? VoIP. Okay. And we get on there, and usually with 2-3 people, it works pretty good. Now, I have had problems when there's more than, a multitude of people, but that's going to be worked out sooner or later. The multitude of channels, being able to tack 1, tack 2, command channel, whatever, be able to, cycle through those channels, which you can't do on TeamSpeak. Okay, well, They say you can on TeamSpeak. I haven't mastered it. Let me put it that way. I like the idea of being on one channel in VoIP and then dropping down to another, talking to totally somebody else, somebody different. But not necessarily the functionality is not what gets to me. It's the immersion factor. It's that reality. And I guarantee you, every vet knows what I'm talking about. Every cop knows what I'm talking about. Every ambulance driver, anybody that has to deal with a radio, if they want the immersion factor, there's just something different about being on the radio. It always adds a sense of urgency to whatever you're doing. Does that make any sense
That
to you?
makes sense. No, I totally
Yeah.
agree. I wanted to share a story about VoIP because I understood that it was something of interest of yours, and I had a really weird experience with it and kind of a strange thinking about it. So let me tell you that I was doing a cargo run, right? Aerial or something like that, and I had a stowaway, and I didn't have any cargo on board. I hadn't purchased anything yet, so the cargo is actually on a different ship because I usually fly with multiple cats. Somebody else was doing the run. Anyways, I was in my cat, and this guy comes out of nowhere, and I'm just about to take off, and he puts a gun to my head, and I heard him over VoIP. And he's like, okay, well, 30,000 credits or I'm going to kill you and you lose all your cargo. And I looked at him and I talked to him in VoIP and I'm like, I don't have any cargo. It's an empty ship. So I started taking off and he's like, okay, well, this is your last warning. And I looked at him, right? I looked at him in the face, in the eyes because of VoIP. So I could actually see his expressions as he was about to shoot me. And it just made me think, will it ever be inhumane to kill somebody in Star Citizen?
That is an excellent question. And I can't answer that.
I just wanted to know your opinion about that because, you're in the military and all sorts of action.
If the immersion factor ever gets to the point to where, I can't answer that. Put it that way.
Interesting. Okay. All right. Well, that's so. Just so you know, I am like a pure Care Bear. I don't even carry a gun with me. I don't get involved.
Well, that's all. I don't go anywhere without one, so we're evenly matched.
Well, the thing is like if you're, you ever wanted a contract for doing escort or security, I can't get enough security people. I honestly can't. I wish I could. I stream every day. I get stream snipers. I get all this nonsense, and I can't get enough security people. So you're in the right industry.
You know what? I'll fly with anybody that is serious, and I guess Discord still displays when you're on Star Citizen. A lot of people don't have that, but when I'm on, it says I'm on, and well, you can tell when if I'm in your context, I'll show up there, and if and this invitation is open to anybody, believe me. If you see me online and I'm sitting there online in Star Citizen, send me a party invite. 9 times out of 10, I'll accept it. If I don't accept it, it's because I'm probably in another party or I'm actually doing a successful mission and I don't want to mess it up.
Fair enough. Yep. Mm-hmm. And, I would also like to send the same invitation back to you as well. I stream Monday to Friday, 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And I would invite you to, if you ever wanted to do something different in Star Citizen, just to do something different, try my stream out because I guarantee you I'll give you a different experience. And if you haven't seen my stream already, check it out maybe first and you'll see what I'm talking about because I do things differently.
Good. I like different.
Yeah, that's right about here.
To a certain point.
It's true. That's true. Well, one thing that I love about Star Citizen is nobody can call me a nerd. Like, I'll never forget the day that I met Montoya at CitizenCon in Austin, and I was decked out in my RP cosplay outfit, super nerd dialed up to 11, and I see Montoya, which is this really big guy. He looks like he's a weightlifter or something like that. And it's like, we're equal nerd levels. Like, there's no way this big guy called me a nerd. It's such a cool feeling, man. We're all equal nerd. One last question, okay? And then we'll wrap things up here. Do you believe that there's a battle of good versus evil in Star Citizen right now?
Yes. that the answer you wanted?
I don't know. Things I think about, and you have a different perspective than I do. So
I think let me put it this way, I think there are bad people and I think there are good people. And I think the bad people can't, while they probably could help being bad, they don't. And they make the game something different than what it really can be. And I feel that's unfortunate, but it's something, we have to put up with it in life. We'll put up with it. There's good and evil in life, and there's good and evil in the game.
that's true. Yeah. All right. Well,
I was going to show you a picture of Montoya and I together.
Yeah, please do. It was a great.
I don't. I think it's on my OneDrive on another computer. But yeah, I know them all. You know what I'm saying? No, that was a joke. You're supposed to laugh.
No, I believe that you do know all of them.
It's a tough crowd, out here.
Honestly, Star Citizen's wild. I'd never seen anything like it before. The thing is, like, I don't consider myself a gamer. I don't know if even Elite Dangerous is the same way. But when I went to CitizenCon, like the first time, it was like, whoa. But then the second time, it's like you get to meet the brightest of the bright and the not brightest of the bright, the richest, people and the poorest people, and they're all side by side, and they all have something that they're sharing in common. It's like a freaking miracle of humanity or something.
I got a question for you. What's the most you think a citizen has spent in Star Citizen?
$100. Do you know the answer? You already know the answer?
I only know it as far as a person that I know that's spent, and it's not me, believe me. But well, maybe I shouldn't say this, but I was told that people have spent in upwards of $400,000.
Oh, the most somebody has spent. Mm-hmm. The most somebody has spent $400,000.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, okay.
Now I met him. Now, supposedly, I met him at a CitizenCon in Austin. Okay, and I don't know what I expected. I was told, I won't go into it because I don't want to. Too many people may know him if I describe what he looks like, but he wasn't what I expected. I don't know why I expected somebody, that was about 5 feet wide and about 11 feet tall, and he was Star Citizen tattooed all over his body. I expect, anybody that spent that kind of money was, but I'm going, well, if I had that kind of money to spend, I'd spend it on Star Citizen. So what the heck am I talking about, And I mean, I suppose this is the difference between, Bloomberg playing Star Citizen and somebody like me playing Star Citizen. You got the money, it's all relative.
Well, I was thinking a couple of days ago that I kind of regret buying ships. Like, I really wish I bought the currency. And if I had lots of money, like $1 million or something, I'd probably buy $1 million worth of currency because I think that's a smarter investment.
Yeah. Well, that's the other thing that, I was never impressed on how many ships somebody bought or what, but this I was impressed when I guess he found out what, how many ships I'd purchased or whatever, and at the concierge dinner or something like that. And I happened to say something smart like, well, what did you buy? Because I don't care. And he said something like, well, about $400,000 and some $1,000. And I went, oh, hi. Can I have your autograph? But, I'm not advocating that now. That was just story, pure story. Okay.
But I think it's amazing, though, that we can go to these events and we can be standing side by side next to these people because you wouldn't ever see them in the real world outside of that.
Probably not. In fact, you're probably right. Well, I know I wouldn't because I don't go anywhere.
That's my takeaway anyways. That's the one thing I love. I'm so fortunate and thankful that I get to do the booth thing. It's my favorite thing in the whole world, and I get to meet the craziest people doing it. And I love every second of it. And I'm like a 4th generation trade show person, so this is like This is a dream come true. So
Good.
so
Yeah.
that's I mean that's about it. We're at 2 hours now. I said 90 minutes. So are you feeling
Yeah.
good?
Well, I feel great. What do you said? I have 4 sons and they're all hams. I don't know where they get it.
That's true. Is there any other icing on the cake that maybe you wanted to shout out? Intergalactic Defense Applications or Initiative, ADAI.
Hey, go visit the Javelin site, Javelin SOC, and talk to me or talk to Ed, uh, and we'll tell you what you need to know and not necessarily what you'd like to hear, but we're uh, we're recruiting for the regiment. We'd like some people. Come talk to us.
Cool. All right. Well, thanks again, Dad Lando, for coming and spending time with me. And thanks to everybody else who's watching. Have a good night.
Anytime. You have a good time too. Take care, everybody.